Welcome back to Flock of Figures, where today I'm going to be coming very close to completing Series 2 of my WWF Hasbro loose figure collection.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
In terms of single figure releases, there are 9 in total in Series 2 of the WWF Hasbro line. As you can see, I have 4 already in my loose figure collection. They're out on the table. I've got Honky Tonk Man, Ultimate Warrior, second edition of Ultimate Warrior. I've got Jimmy Superfly Snooker, and I've got the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, again, who's the second edition. He came out in Series 1 as well. So there are five figures left to tick off on Series 2. I have 3 of them, and there are 2 that I still need to get my hands on, but we'll maybe have a chat about that later on. So first up, I've got Rowdy Roddy Piper. This is a guy that, being Scottish, growing up in Scotland, obviously was drawn to him in the kind of 90s. I think his biggest achievement, or his biggest sort of time in wrestling, was slightly before I was aware of him and of the WWF, because he was in the WrestleMania 1 main event between with Hulk Hogan and Mr. T, and who was it? Was it Orton or Orndorff? I forget who it was, his tag team partner. But anyway, so yeah, I think he was a bigger deal before I kind of started following him. So obviously, being Scottish, as I said, we kind of attached ourselves to him. He was a hero in the playgrounds when we were growing up watching wrestling. But he's obviously not Scottish. He's Canadian. You kind of don't realise that at the time, but looking back now, I think there may be some kind of loose family heritage, like he's got a great grandparent or something that came from Glasgow. But I don't think that Roddy Piper has any claim to be genuinely Scottish. But the connection that I did have with him is that he was born on the exact same day as my dad. So he's got the exact same birthday in 1954. Him and my dad were both born on the same day. So I often thought, when I found it out anyway, wow, how different life could have been, 2 guys born on the same day. One of them ended up being my dad, and the other one ended up being one of my heroes. That's bizarre. But yeah, so Roddy Piper, really cool figure, really unique figure, because he's obviously the only one that is wearing a kilt, wearing a skirt, depending on how you see it. And for that reason, he's also heavily customized. He ends up, his bottom half at least, ends up being the headbangers quite often. But yeah, so on a Spanish card, on a pretty rubbish card, it's got a big huge crease across here. It's torn at the top. Somebody's tried to tape it back together, but it looks relatively clean. Bubble's quite clean, clear, no cracks, dents, splits or anything. So hopefully the figure will be in good condition when we get him out. So here he comes. So here is Roddy. So Roddy's got the Piper Punch, which this is really stiff. His whole joints are really stiff. So it's same issue I had with the Rick Steiner figure. It's like his moves too stiff. It's loosened off a bit now. There you go. So basically it's just a punch that comes back. Yeah, push it forward. So it sticks halfway. There we go. So his punch is working there. Always thought actually about this figure that his chest is huge. Like, he looks like really, really jacked up. Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper was never huge. Obviously, like anybody that was in the WWF, he was a big guy, a muscular guy, obviously worked out, but he was never massive. He was never Scott Steiner levels, but this physique certainly gives him that kind of image. But yeah, the only issue I have with this figure, I think it's a cool figure. I like the fact that he's wearing the kilt. I like that he's wearing the Hot Rod t-shirt. You see some people try to customize this so that he's wearing his wrestling gear, like his trunks and his boots, which is, it's all right. But it's a bit of a, if you do a good enough job, I suppose it's all right with your custom, but it's just a bit of a plain figure. I think usually what they do is they maybe take like a Rick Martel figure or something and paint the trunks blue and the boots that kind of burgundy colour that he used to wear his boots, and then stick his head on. But therein lies the problem for me, because I don't think this head looks much like Roddy Piper. Like, I don't think that looks like Rodney Toombs, I think his real name is. I don't think that looks anything like him. It's a similar hairstyle to what he had at the time, and I suppose that kind of cheeky look in his face, that kind of half smile, um, that kind of fits in his character. But I don't think that's a fair representation. I mean, certainly when you look at Honky, you look at Ultimate Warrior, and even Ted DiBiase, maybe not so much Jimmy, he's got some crazy eyes going on. But these are pretty good head sculpts if you look along the wrestling line, like Honky Tonk, Ultimate Warrior, Ted. Roddy, I'm not so sure. I don't know that looks like Roddy Piper that much. But obviously, the figure as a whole, that is completely what he looked like. These boots are the wrong colour probably. And yeah, his kilt. This is something that maybe Scottish people understand a bit more. One of the things that kind of annoyed me about Roddy Piper's kilt is it wasn't a tartan kilt. Like this was what he had. He had just had a red kilt with white stripes, as in white checks, but it wasn't tartan. It's not. Anyone that kind of wears kilts or knows about kilts will know what a tartan pattern looks like, and how intricate and how detailed it is. His was just red material with white crisscross on it, so it wasn't tartan. It wasn't a proper kilt. And this is exactly what it looked like. So actually, I turn it around here. It looks like he's maybe rubbed against the card. He's missing a bit of a white line there. But yeah, so I suppose from that point of view, because that is almost exactly what he would wear, then it's fair enough. It's a fair representation. Actually, there's a few bits of his kilt that have been rubbed, I suppose. But yeah, not too bad. Apart from that, not too bad. He'll look okay on the shelf. But yeah, so anyway, there's Roddy Piper. Before we talk too much about him, if I can get him to stand up, he's going to be one of these guys. Because he's on, it's kind of tiptoes on one foot, he was always one that was hard to get to stand. I think he'll stay there. Cool. Right, so in previous videos, I've kind of talked a bit about, there are a few figures that people get kind of upset when you take them off the card, and the next couple of figures coming up kind of fall into that category. So, first up, we've got the Real American. From the Scotsman to the Real American. This is the second edition, the Hulkster Hug version of Hulk Hogan. Now, this is a figure that on any card, in any condition, this guy will go for decent money. This is on a French card, and it's on a really poor bubble. The bubble is completely yellow. The card's not great either. That corner's all kind of dog-eared. It's a bit kind of curved. There's a few creases at the top. But the bubble in particular, the bubble's really yellowed. So story behind this one, I picked this up. I've kind of talked about this eBay store before in previous videos. Lee's Toy Review. It's an American-based eBay store. Really, really good, man. If you're into vintage action figures at all, you need to check out Lee's Toy Review. He has all sorts on there. But I was buying some other figures. I think I was buying some Ninja Turtle stuff, and he added this while I was sort of looking. It appeared on his listings, and because I buy a lot from him, so we kind of have a bit of a relationship back and forward, I suppose. He gave me a really good deal on this, and I just chucked it in with the order that I was already placing, so I didn't really have to pay shipping for it, even though it was coming from America. But yeah, I think it was $50. That is what he sold. So that's, I don't know exactly, 40-ish. Maybe somewhere between 38 and 42, which to get a mint on card Hulk Hogan, any description, I think that's really good. So yeah, it is one that people would probably keep on the card and would want to have in mint on card condition. But again, as I've talked about before, I'm really looking for them loose. I want to see them loose. I want to have them in my display, and I certainly don't want to have a mint on card figure that's all yellowed and horrible looking. So Hulk Hogan's coming off. Here he is. So this is the first Hulk Hogan I've had loose since I've started collecting. I've had a few mint on card Hulk Hogans. I've bought and sold a few actually. Hulk Hogan's mint on card. They're the type of figure that they can be really popular. People will pay a lot of money for them. I'm not entirely sure. There's 4 Hulk Hogans in total. Obviously, the first one is the one with the gorilla press slam. So the one that came out in Series 1 is the one that has this move, the Ultimate Warrior in Series 2 has. So this is the Series 2 one. And then the next one that came out, the Series 3 one, that has I think it's called the Hulkaplex move. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's the same move that Bret Hart has. Yeah, I think that one. I'm not entirely sure if it's the same as like Mr. Perfect and stuff as well, if it's a slightly different move. And then the one that came out, I'm thinking Series 5 was a puncher. That was that's known as sort of shirtless Hogan, because the first three all had the t-shirt on like this. I'm not entirely sure if it's either this one or the first one that are my favourites, because the first one I just think was kind of so iconic. It was Hulk Hogan was such a big thing in the lives of children back then. Everyone needed to have one, so everyone kind of had a first edition Hulk Hogan, a gorilla press slam Hulk Hogan. But this is a really good one as well. I remember because it's unique, because it's the only figure in the line that has this move. It's really good. But I'm just looking at it now. Like I really like how his chest actually expands as he does as his arms open up. His chest sort of expands out from behind his vest, which is really cool. I didn't notice that. Well, I don't remember that from when I had this figure as a kid, because I did have it. I think I had all the Hogans. But yeah, that's actually really nice. And I always like with the details on the backs of the Hogans. I like that this t-shirt's all ripped and as it would be, in the on TV. And he's obviously got this cool Hulk Hogan image on the front of his t-shirt. Now I was talking about Roddy having a kind of poor head sculpt, but this one's spot. I mean, that is Hulk Hogan. Everything about it. The look in the face, obviously the hair, the moustache, but even like the receding hairline, like right, it goes right to the middle of the back of his head. That's awesome, man. That is Hulk Hogan. This is a great figure. Really happy to have this. And he looks pretty clean. I mean, I was saying Roddy has, I think, a couple of scuffs on his kilt there where the white line is sort of faded away just from rubbing against the bubble or whatever. But no, Hulk looks amazing. He looks immaculate. I don't see any issues with Hulk at all. Action obviously works perfectly. He's a great one. He's a great addition to the collection, and he stands pretty well as well, that's always a concern. I hate when you get Hasbro's that won't stand properly. As you maybe noticed, like my Bushwhackers and Shawn Michaels from the Rockers and Roddy Piper's kind of struggling a little bit as well. These guys tend to fall over a lot, but yeah, Hulk, he's perfectly balanced, so he'll stand up awesome just in the middle of the shelf. Yeah, so really happy to have Hulk Hogan. Really glad that he's in my collection now. So next one I've got. Yeah, so again, people get upset about taking Hulk Hogan's off the card, and the next one, the last one for this video, is another one that will probably upset some people, despite the fact it's not a very good card. So this is the Macho King, Randy Savage. So yeah, Macho, bit of an interesting one behind it because he was released twice, Series 2 and Series 3. This is Series 2. He's released as Macho King. You can see he's got the kind of crown and scepter accessories with him. But the same figure was re-released the following series as Macho Man. I mean, exactly the same deco, identical figure. Only difference was that when you turn the figure around, on the back of his tights it says Macho King or Macho Man. So, but that's the only difference. So, I mean, that's a cheap trick, I think. Like, that's a cash grab. That, I mean, the only thing close to that in the line is Tatanka, when Tatanka was re-released exactly the same in a later series. But I think there's a story behind that, though. I think Tatanka wasn't initially meant to be in that spot. I think he was kind of chucked in as a last minute replacement. I believe it was a Brutus Beefcake, a repaint, a Mega Maniacs Brutus Beefcake. I think that the purple cards, I think that was who was meant to be in there. But for whatever reason, he was pulled and they just chucked in a re-release Tatanka. But anyway, we're getting off topic. So yeah, here's Macho King, Randy Savage. Really cool figure. I had this guy. He was a champ on several occasions. In fact, I think I actually had him wearing one of the WCW Glue belts just permanently, just because he was always a champ. And I think that might have been like how I had my Intercontinental champions would give them the Glue belts. But yeah, awesome. Obviously, it comes with the crown and scepter, which, I mean, I had him as Macho King, but I never had the crown and scepter for very long. Those got lost early days. But I'll be looking after them a bit better now. So really poor card, Italian card, I think. Yeah, it's an Italian card. All creased, Bubble is yellowed. It's not cracked or anything. I think Bubble's intact. It's got a couple of dents, but it's intact. But I mean, it's dusty, it's creased, it's all scuffed at the edges. It's not a very valuable card, I wouldn't think. But I'm sure someone in the comments will tell me that this is sacrilege taking a Macho King off the card. But here he comes. So this is quite interesting because Macho King's the first figure I've opened up that has this. He's got like an insert inside where he can slide it out. I suppose it's for his accessories. There we go. Yeah, so he's in like a little insert, and his accessories are taped to the insert. That's pretty decent. I didn't realise that before. But yeah, so here's Randy. See on the back of his tights, Macho King. So obviously in the later release it says Macho Man on the back of his tights. He's a puncher. Again, just like Roddy, stiff. His joints are all stiff, but that's a good sign. Issue with this guy is that his wrist tape isn't painted. I don't know if that was like a constant with Macho Man, because Macho Man 1, the elbow smash Macho Man, even he's got tape on his fist that isn't painted either. He notoriously doesn't have his wrist tape painted either. So yeah, I don't know if that's maybe a purposeful thing, but this is a really cool figure. I mean, I think the colours just pop. I think having the gold knee pads, the gold laces, even his shades, that's awesome, man. And if you look at the back, it's nice and bright and fresh. The Macho King with the stars just popping off his tights. That's cracking. But anyway, let's get his accessories off. Now, I don't remember when growing up what they were like. Yeah, I was just thinking, is that crown going to be hard or soft? It's a bit soft. Here's the crown I've just taken off. So it's kind of squidgy. Yeah, it feels like it might be easily broken as well. It's in good. I mean, it's intact. It's completely intact, but it just feels like it'd be the kind of thing that you'd be able to rip that really easily. I suppose it's flexible, so you can push it down over his head. But yeah, and then he also comes with his scepter, which goes obviously in this hand. I'll try and put that in. There we go. So there's Macho King with his crown and his scepter in his hand. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Really happy with that. The crown doesn't, I don't really want to force it any further down on his head, but it kind of sits slightly too high. But I suppose that's kind of in keeping with the WWF as well at the time, because anyone that had the King gimmick, and there was a few of them, obviously the King of the Ring winners, but there's a few people that have just declared themselves the King as well over time. That was kind of the whole angle, was that you had like oversized novelty crown and stuff. It was a kind of, you know, an outrageous version of royalty. So I suppose to have a crown that's kind of sitting a bit too high and stuff, that would fit with that. But yeah, I mean, this is fantastic. Really like these guys that have opened up. I mean, obviously Roddy's somebody that is iconic to me, and iconic to most wrestling fans actually. But you know, Hulkster Hulk Hogan and Macho King, those are fantastic. I mean, I'm smiling all over my face just looking at these guys, especially looking at them in this condition, because they're both pristine looking, and they're going to look awesome on display on the shelf. So yeah, really happy to have them. So as I mentioned at the start of the video, this is me. I'm closing in on completing Series 2. There are 9 to get. As you can see, I've got 7 of them now. I don't know. I might, just looking at Roddy, I might try and get another Roddy, because his kilts are a bit scuffed in a couple of places. So I'll see how much that annoys me, how much it bothers me when he's on the shelf. I might try and get another Roddy as well. But yeah, so there's 2 figures left to get. So those 2 figures are in Series 2 are Hacksaw Jim Duggan, first release of Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and the other one is Dusty Rhodes. So Dusty Rhodes, you don't have to be a crazy Hasbro collector to know that Dusty Rhodes is the Holy Grail. Well, maybe not the Holy Grail. I suppose if you're talking holiest of Holy Grails, it would be the Greg Valentine Rhythm and Blues figure. But Dusty Rhodes, he came out in a limited release when he came out in 1991. The reason for that, I believe, I mean, I might be wrong, but I believe it's because he left the company to go back to WCW, and his figure was pulled. So Dusty Rhodes came out in Series 2, and obviously they go out in the waves. They go out in the first wave, and then depending on how sales will go, stores will reorder more. And I think after that first wave went out, Dusty Rhodes left the WWF. He went to WCW, and they put a halt on it. Said, right, do not issue any more Dusty Rhodes figures. They didn't, so he's now incredibly rare. He's incredibly hard to find. A good Dusty Rhodes on card, I mean, a good one on mental card is literally thousands, multiple thousands to get a good carded Dusty Rhodes. One that's on a kind of poor card, maybe with a yellowed bubble or something like that, you're still talking over 500. Even a loose Dusty Rhodes, and most of the loose Dusty Rhodes you see, they don't have working action, which would be a prerequisite for me. I mean, I'm not completely against having buying one loose to put in the collection, but it'd have to be pretty close to mint. I wouldn't want one with an action that doesn't work, and I wouldn't want one with any major scuffs or anything. So I'd be talking a couple of £100 at least to get my hands on one like that to put in the collection. So Dusty Rhodes, he may be one that evades me. I may never get my hands on a good Dusty Rhodes. I mean, I've had Dusty Rhodes. I don't have one at the moment, but I have had them. I have had loose Dusty Rhodes. I don't think I had one growing up, but I remember people having them. I remember my friends having Dusty Rhodes when we were playing. So yeah, I'm familiar enough with the figure. But as I've talked about before about my collecting habits and the way that I like to collect minty loose stuff, nobody would be taking a Dusty Rhodes off the card. That's just mental. That's crazy. So I don't think I'm going to be unboxing a Dusty Rhodes anytime soon. But I may, just to try and complete the series, I may try and find a good-ish loose one online. See if I can stick them there. Hacksaw shouldn't be a problem. I think I should be able to find a hacksaw somewhere. They do come up now and again. The second release of Hacksaw, the Hacksaw from the Purple Card series, seems to be, for whatever reason, I don't know, that seems to be a more expensive one, a more desirable one. I don't know why, because I think that's an ugly figure. It's got a different coloured beard to his hair, and he's got a vest painted on. It's the same figure, essentially, just been repainted. But I much prefer the first Hacksaw. But it's the second one that goes for big money. But anyway, the first Hacksaw is the one in Series 2, so I should be able to get him at some point. And add him to the collection, and hopefully if all goes well, I'll be able to pick up a loose Dusty just to finish out the 9. So yeah, that's that for this video. Really happy with these guys, really happy to see. I mean, Series 2 that's a strong series when you look at it like that, and if you had Hacksaw and Dusty as well, yeah, that's a strong series, man. That's some good figures in that lineup. But yeah, really happy with these guys, really happy with Hogan, really happy with Match. But Roddy, yeah, we'll see how you go, mate. You might get replaced at some point. But anyway, so more WWF Hasbro unboxing videos coming up. Actually, a couple more UK graders orders. I just got a couple of emails actually to say that orders have been completed, so they should be here within the next day or two. So I'll do a couple of unboxing videos for those. So if you want to see those, subscribe to the channel. While you're doing that, hit the notification bell. Please like, comment, share. Stay safe. We'll speak soon.